Hello, I'm Addie from STEAM Within You, and I'm super excited to read to you guys the Charlotte the Scientist is Squished. Let's begin. So, Charlotte was a serious scientist. She had protective glasses, a lab coat, a magnifying glass, and her essential scientific equipment, plus a clipboard for extra notes that she might need to write down. Charlotte solved problems by conducting experiments that followed the scientific method: a question, hypothesis, experiment, observation, and a conclusion. But Charlotte had a big problem. She was squished. She was squished at the table, she was squished in the tub, and sometimes she was even squished on the toilet. It had become impossible for her to conduct her experiments. Her test tubes were taken, her beakers were broken, and her specimens were spoiled. Charlotte needed some space, time to use the scientific method. Step 1, ask a question. How can I get some space around here? Form a hypothesis. Step 2, my hypothesis is, how can I get rid of my brothers and sisters so I have room to be a real scientist? Test a hypothesis. Experiment. She tried to experiment to make everyone disappear, but it didn't work. She tried another experiment to make herself disappear, but that didn't work either. Oh, what could she do? If she couldn't get some space where she was, why doesn't she go to space? So here's her on space. She moved to the moon. Step 4, make and record an observation. Charlotte was no longer squished at the table. She was no longer squished in the tub or on the toilet. Space was plentiful. Finally, Step 5, draw a conclusion. She had all the room she needed to conduct very important experiments. She used her protective glasses, her lab coat, and her magnifying glass. Her test tubes were tidy, her beakers were brilliant, and her specimens were sparkling. Her hypothesis was correct. She finally had room to be a scientist. The only problem was there was no one to talk and laugh with at mealtime. There was no one to blow bubbles in the tub with. And what was Charlotte supposed to do when she was out of toilet paper? Space was lonely. Back to step 2, form a hypothesis. If I can have friends in space, then I won't be lonely, and I can finally be a real scientist. Time for some experiments. Charlotte tried chocolate, but it was too tempting, and the balloons just kept floating away. And the robot bunnies were poor conversationalists, and they would run into the bathtub and get tangled in the toilet paper. Charlotte missed her family, even missed being squished, so she tried one last experiment. So she came back home. And reached a new conclusion. Charlotte didn't need outer space. She just needed her own space. I love this book because Charlotte Squished, because it really shows you that you can be a real scientist no matter who you are or where you are. You could be in Africa, you could be all the way across the United States in New York, but it shows that you can be a real scientist where you are, and you can be anyone. Well, I hope you are very excited to get incorporated with STEAM, the point of my blog, showing that art is incorporated into science and STEM. Well, I'm super excited that I got to read this book to you guys, and keep reading and keep learning, and don't let anyone tell you that science isn't cool.